One of Australia's highest courts has ruled that Facebook users are legally responsible for all content on their Facebook pages, even comments others make on their posts. The ruling means that posters can be sued for alleged libel and defamation. That occurs regardless of who actually made the comment. This is a bonkers decision that would take down the internet as we know it if it was enforced here in the U.S. Obviously, it can't be. This is Section 230, which is what in the U.S. is what it makes it so that you're only liable for the speech you make on social media. The social media company is not liable. Somebody else is not liable. But here, can you imagine if you could be sued for somebody making a comment on your Facebook page? I think
on this video.
Or on this video. I think Kim, you would come under a significant legal liability pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely insane. And obviously, this is going to be used as people are going to start self-censoring, right? I mean, they're going to abandon their social media pages. What we know is that even when big tech is being pressured to censor and moderate content and comments, that they then go and censor. They take down anything that they think might be outside of the realm of what they want to be liable for, even though they're not. They are protected by Section 230, but nonetheless, they're being, pressured by the government of do this or else. And now this is going to fall on the people, and we're going to start saying, well, I got to defriend like all of my crazy uncles. I'm afraid.
What's even crazier about all of this is that Australia and Facebook had this kind of staring contest a little while ago in which Australia came after Facebook, and Facebook was like, cool, we're just going to go dark in Australia, see how you like that. And so then Australia backed down. And so now Australia said, well, actually, Facebook's not liable for anything. They're putting no liability on Facebook, but if a news outlet's story is posted on Facebook, then the news outlet is the one that's responsible for the Facebook comments that are underneath there. So clearly Australia is chickening out. They instead of going after Facebook, they're going after these news outlets. But then that's even crazier. So my understanding of the law, which is like I said, insane, is that you're not automatically liable for some type of defamatory comment. But if you get informed that, hey, this is defamatory, and you don't take it down, then you're in trouble. But newspapers just don't have the capacity to put teams. They don't have enough people to cover the news going on anymore. Let alone set aside a massive team to just handle requests. What they would actually do is just disable comments.
Comments, yeah. They'd turn them off, and there would be no discussion whatsoever amongst the people about certain news topics. So I mean, this is very chilling. What is going on with Australia, though, in general? I mean, they are just taking some really extreme measures all around that really, I think, call into question their freedom as a nation. Yeah, they're taking,
I saw a story, I'm pretty sure that they're confiscating alcohol from people trapped in just the most insane social distancing restrictions. Now social media is going to get shut off because of the increased liability. These are circumstances under which normal people go insane. Go homicidal insanity.
And they're piloting this weird program where the government will text you and you have 15 minutes
to show your face on the app.
Show your face on an app. Yeah, check in, make sure you're actually quarantined where you said you would be. I don't know if there's some wildly virulent strain or something that's going around there that's making what it is a good question, and let's get somebody next week from Australia to explain to us what on earth is going on down under.
In other big tech news, this week Arizona Republican venture capitalist and U.S. Senate candidate Blake Masters published an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal making the case for more government regulation of big tech, citing the need to reclaim our independence from tech giants, saying in part, never before have a few huge corporations controlled almost the entire flow of information in our society. America's future will be determined by how Congress chooses to regulate big tech in the coming decade. We must resist the domination of a corporate technocracy and chart a new course. This is a line that, J.D. Vance, Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, a lot of Republican figures are sticking with. I don't quite see it this same way because while it's true that a couple large corporations do have immense power over the discourse, there's actually there's more discourse going on, right? It is easier to express dissident, or contrarian or far right or far left views than it ever has been before. Certainly, if you to go back 20 or 30 years, when you're just relying on your very kind of centrist, boring, stuffy local news channel, or even the major cable news channels, television, radio, there's more information out there. I don't see it quite so. Maybe the profits are being dominated, but the conversation, despite all the bad calls they make on frequently, just doesn't seem that. The situation doesn't seem dire to me.
I don't know. To me, this conversation always ignores the algorithm. Like it's one thing to focus on speech, but when you introduce the idea of the algorithm, that these private companies with unchecked power are privileging certain speech over other speech, then that does start to impact the entire society. We have to start asking, what kind of a world do we want? And do we want a world in which these companies are privileging kind of the most hateful, toxic stuff because they know that's the thing that people are going to engage with? It's going to drive up their views. It's going to drive up their profits. We're coming out of this era of 40 years of neoliberalism, which was defined by kind of undermining the commons and like pulling people apart and pitting people against each other. We're now coming back together, and there are historical trends pushing people to find common purpose again, which couldn't come at a more important time with needing to confront global climate change. Yet it's running headlong into this social media buzzsaw that is then ripping people back apart and could alter the course of history. So I think the algorithm just doesn't get enough attention in these conversations.
By the way, and I dig into a lot of these themes in my new book, which is out later this month, Tech Panic. You can pre-order it on Amazon or get it in stores later this month.
Help Robbie out, get his book. Kim, you kind of have lived and died by not just the algorithm but censorship. But you've witnessed the algorithm in action on a daily basis. Like, what's your takeaway from what that's doing to our public discourse?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the algorithm is a problem, just like you mentioned. I mean, those of us that are, content creators and our livelihoods are dependent on it have seen ourselves either amplified and make a ton of money suddenly because of the algorithm, or totally buried and suddenly make nothing, So it definitely has an impact. But also just, look, we constantly talk about meddling in elections, right? This foreign entity or this bad actor is meddling in our elections. But, when these big tech companies have the ability to moderate their own content and decide what's in front of our faces, then you have to ask the question, do you want Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey to be the one meddling in your election? Because they ultimately have that power at this point to funnel the information, decide on who we get to have access to. And that is also kind of a form of meddling, which is why I think social media companies need to be regulated as public utilities.
We'll have more Rising right after this. Stay tuned.